Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. My name is Ashish again. I'm from Lifesight. We have been there in the measurement space for quite some time. We've been working with a lot of enterprise brands, helping them to optimize their media budget, allocate, and predict their business outcomes through their marketing efforts. Today, we are here to showcase the live demo of our module Lifesight Measure, and especially uh, how marketing mix modeling inside Lifesight Measure is going to help you make your media buying decision. So today we have Rajiv and Shubham. Rajiv is the co-founder and VP of product at Lifesight. Shubham works in the product team and also is a marketing mix modeling expert. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. The whole agenda of the session will be to just give you a refresh if you couldn't attend the last webinar that we did on what is marketing mix modeling and what are the impacts that it can have on your business, building block of marketing mix modeling, what does it take for you to set up for your business, and then Shubham is going to show you live, right, on what kind of use cases does a marketing mix modeling solve for your business, and how do we do that inside LifeSite. That's pretty much the agenda. Rajiv, over to you.
Thank you, Ashish. So I'll take a few minutes to sort of recap what we discussed in the last webinar as a refresher, and then I'll pass it on to Shubham to show a demo of how we do MMM at LifeSite. So in the last webinar, we did go through a few things around why MMM is a very important toolkit to have in your measurement stack, and the right way to understand this is by having a top level view of all the other toolkits that you have available in your measurement stack. So you have surveys, you have modeling, you have tracking and experiments. Each of these things have its own utility. Surveys are third-party data supported means of doing measurements. Tracking is perhaps the most popular one, your multi-touch attribution, which is based on URL parameters, tracking pixels, server-side tracking, and all fall into this particular vertical. And then you have ID agnostic ways of doing measurements, right, which is modeling and experiments. Marketing mix modeling comes within the modeling stack. But besides marketing mix modeling, you have got a certain other ID agnostic ways of doing measurement as well, which is causal inferences, behavior-based attribution, all of that. And then you have experiments. This is where you run your randomized control experiments, you do your geo experiments, you do your A/B testing and all of that, right? So these are various measurement options that you have. But today we would be going into the marketing mix modeling and how you can adopt MMM as an option to measure your return on ad spend and other things, right? So how do we typically approach MMM is, unlike MTA, which tries to find all your marketing touch points and assigns weight to various touch points. In MMM, you apply certain statistical methods and understand correlations between your data and your KPIs. How this is achieved is by bringing various data together. And when we say various types of data, these are internal data and external data. In internal data, you have your marketing spend, your channel engagement, your organic activities. In external data, you have competitor intelligence, macroeconomic factors, seasonalities, holidays, pandemics, and all of this, right? And if you bring in all of these things together, you can find correlation between all those variables with your KPIs. And this helps you look forward, make some forecasting, and also understand how to optimize your ad spend, how to try to achieve certain optimization in terms of reducing CPAs and all of that. And MMM is a time-tested, age-old way of doing measurements. It's not anything new, but there are some drawbacks in the traditional approach of doing MMM, and we have listed some of them here, right? So it's a very time-consuming process. It requires a lot of bespoke consulting from analysts, statisticians, and all of that. The process of training a model used to be extremely time-consuming. and running this model manually had its own limitations. Right? You can't fine tune your models to a large extent. Your models become very static. Once you get a right model, you will have to adopt it for a very long period of time. Then there are problems of overfitting, multi-collinearity, and all that, which is very difficult to address in the traditional approach. So in our approach, where we refer to it as integrated MMM, we sort of address most of these problems that exist in the traditional approach, right? So we are essentially trying to bring in a no-code platform for you. You will see that shortly in the demo, where you can bring in all your data, you can do certain schema mapping process, you can submit the data for running MMM models. The platform will return back the right model for you to adopt for your optimization decisions. And what is it going to help you achieve? It helps you achieve three things. The foundation is, of course, to be able to do measurements, to understand your sales drivers, to measure your return on investment, all of that. Then you can use this data to make forecasting. You can understand sales response to various media budgets. You can do certain simulation, scenario planning, and all of that. And finally, what you achieve with all of this is you can make optimum media budget allocations, which is data driven, which is backed by a model that is able to sort of fit properly with very high accuracy to your past data, and then you can use this to make very optimum budget decisions that are forward looking. So that brings us to Lifesight Measure. So what is Lifesight Measurement? So we are a privacy first marketing measurement suite of products. So we try to address a lot of challenges which is there in the market today, right? Which has been which has been in the market for some time now, and with every new release of iOS, OS, or even Android, these challenges are becoming extremely daunting for the marketers. So we have built a measurement stack that can help you sort of address all your measurement needs, working around the challenges that you have in the industry today, right? So if you have a lot of offline spend that you are not able to attribute properly, you can bring that into your MMM schema and use MMM model to rationalize your offline spend. If your tech stack is unable to sort of work around all the cookie limitations that you have, we have built a first-party identity graph in such a way that our multi-touch attribution sort of solves for all of that. And so we have built a very robust measurement platform, which we believe can solve all your measurement needs. For today's purpose, of course, we'll be focusing only on the MMM side of things. But MMM is not a method that is not a measurement methodology that can answer all the questions for you. So in the next slide, we sort of try to explain how various measurement methodologies sort of complement each other, right? So you have MMM, multi-touch attribution, incrementality testing. So each of these things have its own utility. Multi-touch attribution is used to make short-term comparisons, optimization decisions, and all of that. Whereas MMM is slightly more strategic. It looks at your historical data and understand patterns. And then you have incrementality testing, which is the gold standard of measurement, where you try to do testing between an exposed group and a control group by running scale up or hold out modeling, right? And the key thing here is each of these models sort of complement one another. So MMM can, of course, fill in gaps that you have in multi-touch attribution, because your multi-touch attribution can never do attribution for an offline channel. Similarly, incrementality testing can complement MMM by giving an input that can calibrate your MMM models for better accuracy. And multi-touch attribution can offer you a lot of hypotheses, which you can then validate through your incrementality testing. So the ideal approach for any brand would be to adopt all these three tools so that you have very holistic measurement in place. And with that, I think Shubham can take over from here and dive deep into MMM and how you can use MMM to get answers for your measurement questions and how to use them for your optimization. Shubham, over to you.
Thanks, Raju. Thanks for giving very quick overview of MMM. What is MMM? What challenges it solves? And where does it fit in with other measurement tools? So now we'll go directly into the demo of Lifesight's platform. So before that, we'll quickly understand what is the overall life cycle of running an MMM model. So then with each of these steps will go how we actually do it. First thing is that before doing any measurement or doing any modeling activity, first you need to decide that using that modeling or running that experiment, what are the business questions which you want to answer? And those business questions would be, for example, what you want to measure. You want to measure the performance of your ad spend on your revenue, your uh, your number of orders, or the impact of your ad spend on the number of application installs you are getting. So those are the business questions which needs to be first identified and then answered with MMM model. Then there are also decisions like what you would be doing with the MMM model, whether you would like to optimize your existing budgets, you would like to scale your budgets or target a particular KPI, you are not satisfied with your CPA or ROS which you are getting and you want to improve that. Okay, so after deciding the business questions, then you go into MMM model. So for what MMM model does is it takes lots of data, your historical aggregated data from both inside and outside the business, and then try to find the patterns out of that. So for that, we'll need to prepare that data. And after preparing data, we need to configure the model by providing the right parameter so that it can build the regression models and find the best fit models which can answer our business questions accurately. Yeah. So after building that model, then mostly it would be on Lifesight to run that model, check the accuracy, provide you the most accurate models, and then provide you the options to calibrate that model. And after that, after once the setting is done, the Lifesight's MMM model would refresh automatically based on the frequency which you decided. Let's say you decided with the weekly frequency to refresh. So once the model is set up, we get a model with high accuracy. Then we can very quickly the refresh would be the automatic setup that every week it would refresh itself, and we would keep getting new findings, and those findings we can use for budget optimization, making future decision, doing some scenario planning, and like keep using it until maybe we may want to run a new model based on new KPI or some other external factors are coming in which may impact your business. So you may want to pull in those factors. For that, you may require to run new model. So now we'll go into the demo part of the things. So for that, first I'll go with like the decision making which you need to do before making the MMM model. So among the decisions which a modeler would have to make before start building an MMM model, the first and the key decision is the KPI which for which we want to build an MMM model. So on Lifesight's MMM platform, any number of models can be built. But for every model, there has to be one KPI. So you can make n number of models with different KPIs. But for one model, let's say you may need to choose that you want to measure the impact of your advertisement spend on your revenue or your number of orders, your returning user revenue, your new user revenue, or number of physical store visits you are getting, or if you are running, let's say, campaigns to increase application installs. So you may want to consider app installs as your KPI and then build MMM model on that. So it could be any business KPI on which you can make an MMM model. Then second decision which you need to make is the granularity of the ad data which you are bringing in. So two key inputs for any MMM model is one is KPI and second is the ad spend data, because it tries to find the pattern or pattern between the ad spending you are doing on different platforms and its impact on the KPI, that is, let's say, revenue. So for that, you need to identify the granularity of the ad channels which you want to bring in. For example, someone may want to measure the impact of the platforms versus each other. For example, impact of Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat, TV, radio, emails, print media, or sponsorship activities, or any OH or billboards which you might be having. So consider that granularity and compare the impact of each of them on the KPI, that is revenue. But there might be some businesses which may require more granular spend, like granular comparison. So they may go with, let's say, tactic. They may keep Facebook retargeting different from Facebook prospecting, for example. So there can be an tactic level breakdown. Then there might be some business which may want to, which for example, let's say have only two channels of ad spend, Facebook and Google, and they are running some campaigns on Facebook and some campaign on Google, and they are very different type of campaigns. So they may want to break the ad spend campaign wise and compare and build an MMM model on that. So that is a decision which a business has to make before making an MMM model. Then some other basic decisions which are need to be taken, like for example, the data, the ads. MMM requires historical aggregated data. So what level of aggregation you want to do? So someone might want to include in daily ad spend data, and some might want to go with the weekly ad spend data, like that. So let's say if you want to build MMM model on past 1 year data, it could be that you uploaded data for 52 weeks, like 52 row items, which each row is for 1 week, or you could go with the daily granularity where you are including 365-day row items, and all of your ad spends on your KPI is aggregated at daily level. Then with there are some things, like when you come to Lifesight platform and you want to build a model, let's say on for the revenue KPI, and you want to break them into platform level, and you're doing it at a daily level. Then to integrate, how to bring in that data to Lifesight's platform. So for that, our connect module is there, wherein which allows you to automatically integrate your all ad spend and KPI data with us. So one way is to do it directly via the platform integration. That, for example, for KPI, you are on Shopify or WooCommerce, you may want to integrate those platform with us, so that we'll keep getting your KPI data or your revenue data from there. Same ways, if you are having ad spending on Facebook, Snapchat, then you can integrate those platforms with us, and we'll keep getting the ad spends from there, so that we can then automatically make the MMM model. Some may not want to integrate their platforms, so there is also a way to do the spreadsheet integration, because it's an aggregated data and historical data. So it doesn't require all the touch points. So you can simply, let's say, put up in a spreadsheet what are your daily spends on Facebook, Snapchat, and Google, and what is your revenue of the total revenue of the business in a spreadsheet, and that could be integrated. In most scenarios, it could be hybrid format, that the platforms which are possible to be integrated directly, ad platform, Shopify stores can be integrated, and some of the data, as Rajiv mentioned, that there are some other data like contextual variables, for example, your competitor activity, or data like inflation, effect of pandemic. Those you can integrate in spreadsheet, and the model would pick it from there on its own. Along with that, we saw earlier that experiment is also a tool, a measurement tool in itself, but additionally it also helps to calibrate the MMM model. So before making an MMM model, business can identify, okay, I had run some experiments in past 1 year or 2 year. Those can be used to calibrate the MMM model. Or I run some post-purchase surveys, which can be used to calibrate the MMM model. Even if these calibrations are not done while building the model for the first time, these can be integrated with the Lifesight platform later on, and it would in turn calibrate the MMM model. Then last is, while making MMM model, we may so yeah, that's an advantage with the integrated and continuous type of MMM model which Lifesight provides, that it can be refreshed very easily. You won't have to wait for your results to have their effect for a quarter or some time before making further decisions. The model would keep refreshing itself at a pre-decided frequency. Let's say you decide to refresh the model every week. So every week, the MMM Lifesight's MMM model would take your new ad spends, your new revenues, and refresh itself, so that the budget optimization decision which you have made using MMM model, you can see their impact, whether they are going into the right direction or whether you need to reverse some of the decisions. That was on the decision making part. After that, there is the input data. So once once you have made the decision that how you want to integrate your data, let's say you made an hybrid decision that some of the ad platforms you integrate directly with Lifesight platform, and some you provide in a spreadsheet format. So ultimately what Lifesight would do is that it would take those data from different sources and then put them up in a CSV format and pass that to the MMM model. So how it would do that, how that CSV would look like. So I just wanted to give a quick snapshot of that. So as I mentioned that it is going to be a historical aggregated data. So in this example, let's say it's almost 2.5 years of data. So we start with, and it is at weekly granularity. So every week's data for all ad spends. So a particular business is having these many channels of advertisement. So weekly ad spend on all these channels are required. Then that is a mandatory data. Then after that, there are some additional data. For example, this social media data. This is the organic marketing activity. So this particular business has some social media account. So they have integrated like weekly impression they are getting over there. Similarly, if there was a YouTube channel, then the impression you are getting on YouTube channel could also be integrated because all the activity we do, whether it's an organic activity, that also impacts our business. Then, if we had some coupon or discount campaigns running on, we could integrate that as an additional variable. App ranking, your app ranking on the App Store can be an indicative variable which can impact your business in a way. Then there is some engagement metrics. So this is also not mandatory. If you have these data available, let's say you are doing some spend on Google and how much impressions you are getting, how much impression you are getting on Instagram, that could also be integrated. But again, that is not an mandatory data. Then, yep, then one of these KPIs would be required for MMM model. So here the KPI is the total number of orders, revenue, application installs, or store visits. So any one of that KPI is required to build the MMM model. And just to mention here that this KPI is the overall business KPI. This is not the revenue you are getting from a particular platform or particular channel. This is overall business revenue which MMM takes as input. Then MMM would be telling that how much of this revenue is driven by each of these independent variables, be it the advertisement spends or be it additional variables. Okay, now we move on to the Lifesight platform, wherein I will be showing how we create model, and once we create model, what are the different insights which we see. Before jumping into that, I'll quickly show that what are the different once we make the model, like what are the different uh, insights and different things which MMM model would allow us to do. So first is after inputting this data, what we would be able to see is that what is true baseline and incremental contribution of our paid media channels. So as I was telling that we are providing to MMM model on only ad spend data of different channels and total business API. Then MMM model would be telling us that how much incremental contribution each channel is having to us. So as we all know that every channel is getting business not only from the ad activities. There is a baseline which is existing already, which might be due to your brand equity, might be due to direct channels, word of mouth, might be due to, let's say, the pricing changes you do, or some seasons, holidays. So what MMM would do is that the total revenue, it would distribute it into a baseline and then incremental contribution of each paid channel over and above that. Also, you would, as MMM model, Lifesight MMM model allows you inbuilt to capture your seasons and holidays or your weekdays versus weekends. So you would get to see the impact of different seasons on your business. Then it allows you to add in the additional inputs like competitor sales or some economic factors and their impact on your business. And finally, once the model is built, you get an accurate model. You could use it to optimize your media budgets. So this model would tell you that out of your total current budgets, how from which platform you should be putting into other platforms so that your revenue is maximized. Or if you are running different type of tactics, among which tactics you should be redistributing your budgets for maximum return. And there are also simulation option available where you can basically target a particular CPA or ROS value. that you're not satisfied your current incremental CPA which you are getting. So you may want to target a lower CPA and then see for to achieve in order to achieve that CPA, what should be your ad distribution in across different tactics or platform. And similarly for ROS as well, if you want to maximize that. So using these tools, these simulation tools, you would be able to scale your budgets and predict the impact of those scaling of budget on your business KPI. You may target increasing your budget by 10% and then see whether it's impacting your business KPI like as much it should do, and it is not affecting your CPI in that process. Then you can make that decision and move forward. So yep, very quickly then I'll go into the tool. So okay, so I'll start with create model. So this step over here is we are seeing because in this case this is an demo account and we are not having any platform integrated. But if you would already been having some platform integrated with our platform, for example, these are the different type of integrations and many custom integrations are supported. So then those data would directly be here and you will not need to input a CSV as such. Even if it would be spreadsheet, it would be directly integrated using our connect module and it would come in automatically and you would directly jump into schema mapping stage. So yes, memo, I'll upload a CSV. This file is similar to what I just showed to you. So then, yeah, so when the model is built for the first time, a one-time schema mapping would have to be done in order to tell MMM model that from different sources we are bringing data, what each column means. But this is only one-time process, and from next time this won't be needed. Model would refresh in itself, and any new model would also be created on its own. So let's say I uploaded a date data. What is the date column in my data, and it is at weekly granularity. Then on which KPI we want to build and this MMM model, let's say on orders, total number of orders we are building. Then what are different channels of like where we are having ad spends, let's say. So for just quickly, I'll choose couple of them. Right. So as I mentioned earlier that these three are mandatory columns in any MMM data. So you need to give a date column and you need to give one KPI and all your ad spends data. But other than that, also there can be additional data which can be feed into the MMM model to make it better. For example, you may give the impressions or clicks you are getting from your marketing spends. So let's say if I want to put up Instagram impressions, then any organic activity, I have a social media page where I am getting this much impressions. Then I also have some internal contextual variables. For example, I range some coupons. So that data I can put in. Then we click on next. And then there are some options to configure. So for example, seasons and holidays, these impacts are already included by Lifesight. So you could enable or disable them if you know that holidays and seasons impact your business. So you can enable these variables as well. And then you just create model. So you can see that it comes here in the list of your my models that this demo training in progress. And depending on the size of data, it takes like 20 to 40 minutes in training a model. And then you would be able to see the prediction accuracy you are getting on that model. We recommend that at least 85 to 90% of the accuracy should be achieved before that model to be used for further purpose. And if in case in some scenarios that accuracy is not achieved, then Lifesight as a team then supports that basically in identifying what might be wrong with the data, what might be wrong with the different type of parameters which are taken by the model, and then help users reconfiguring them and then achieving a target prediction accuracy so that that model can be used. So for here, I'll use some of the models which I already created earlier and show what insights we get and what are different modules which we can use. Yeah, let's say this is one model with very high accuracy which we can use. So this is overview page. So first couple of curves which you are seeing are only the interpretation of your input data, that how your like different ad spends are have been in past 2.5 years, and like how and their visualization only. Then again, this table is telling how what spends we integrated with the MMM model, the clicks and impression data if we had integrated. Then this curve over here, actual versus predicted revenue, this is the validation methodology for the model that we build the model and use a part of our historical data to validate it. So basically, then we use a model of high accuracy, let's say in this case 97%, and then plots it for actual versus predicted KPI over entire period of the modeling. And in this scenario, we can see that both the curves are very closely aligned, and that's why it's a 97% accuracy model, and hence it can be used for future predictions as well. The next curve which we are seeing over here is share of spend versus revenue and with total ROS. So it could be if KPI was something else, let's say conversion, then it could be total CPA. So here we are seeing that for the share of spends, this data we already provided to the model that Google had 18.3% spend, YouTube had 19.57% spend. But what MMM model is telling that for that share of spend, how much share of revenue we are getting and what is ROS for that. It is providing that for 18.3% of spend on Google, we are getting 17.93% of revenue. And if it would have been the case that share of revenue was much lower in one platform and much higher in other platform, then that would indicate to a business that maybe we should be reallocating some of our budgets. And similarly, next curve is telling us the incremental revenue over baseline. So as I mentioned earlier, that every business has some baseline, which without any ad spend, that revenue is coming to their business. So MMM does a pretty well job at identifying that baseline and what is incremental revenue which each ad platform is bringing to the business, which is tabulated here as well. That for example, here you are seeing that baseline is 44, almost 44%. So 44% of the business is coming irrespective of the ad platforms, and the in top of that, ad platforms are contributing, for example, Google 10%, YouTube 12%, TikTok 19%, and so on. So these are the basic insights which we get from MM model, and we if we think that those insights are making sense to us, then we can also use the budget optimizer tool, so wherein which optimizes your budget for maximum return. So here we are seeing that the current budget for current week is 38,460, and if we redistribute it this budget as per MMM model, then we may get some additional revenue. So here it is asking to increase in Facebook by 50%, reduce in Google by 50%, then reduce in TikTok by 17%. And here we are seeing that with the same set of basically same revenue, so the same total budget and same recommended budget, we are getting an additional revenue over here. So just by redistributing budgets from one platform to another, there is an increase in the revenue. And you can see that ROS, if we redistribute as per model suggestion, it increases from 2.12 to 2.25. But then we could run some scenarios. Let's say some business wants to increase the next week's budget by 10%, and it wants to know that where I should ideally be investing that additional 10% so that I'm able to maximize my revenue for that. So every time this would take few seconds to read the model and accurately suggest the optimum budgets. So it is able to increase the overall budget by 10% and telling that where you should be increasing and where you should be reducing the budget. So again, we are seeing that we are able to achieve that budget target, and it hasn't impacted our ROS. So if our purpose is to get additional revenue without impacting our ROS, that could be a valid approach, that we could increase the budget. But there might be some businesses who are not looking to spend increase the spend, but are looking for an higher ROS. So for example, from current ROS of 2.142, they may want to go to ROS of 2.3. Then budget optimizer allows that as well, that you could target a ROS and then can see how it's impacting your revenue and whether it would make sense for a business to try getting to that higher of the ROS and without any impact on the revenue as such. So here we are seeing that yes, it is possible to achieve that ROS by doing redistribution of budgets. That led to reduction in budget from 38,000 to 28,000, and that led to reduction in the incremental revenue as well from 81,000 to 64,000. So if only criteria for a particular business might be to increase the ROS, and they are not worried at the moment about doing the budget cuts and getting an impact on revenue. So that could be a possible scenario, and they could simulate for different values. Then they may want to reduce it to 2.25, do it 2.4, or maybe trying a particular budget or cutting a budget. So all different scenarios can be done, and different budget sheets can be downloaded, which helps a which can help a business in decision making. So yeah, that was all about this demo. Like we saw how data look like, and what different insights we get, and how easy it is to create a model and get insights which get refreshed at a weekly frequency.
Thanks, Shubham, for that, really amazing demo. I hope everyone here could understand the potential of how marketing mix modeling can really help your business. I think we've been saying to everyone that while this has been a model, been there for a long time, the ability of, technology has helped with move, and we are here to move the table here with automated MMM. Something which we really are proud of is to talk about how we've enabled other brands to grow. So, for example, as you can see on the screen, there's a skincare brand which came to us with trying to figure out what do they do with their budget, how do they reduce their CPA, and in turn, how do they increase their revenue. So, some of the numbers that you've seen here, right? So, we've been able to work with them, especially looking at what budget they've been deploying for their meta ads, ability for us to figure out how do we reduce their CPA on that front and then reallocate that budget, and thereby also increasing their ROAS. This skincare brand came up with at least 6 months to 12 months of data for us to be able to work with this data and then project and increase their overall revenue. Feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to understand a bit more about your business challenges and the KPIs and the outcomes that you may require through your marketing effort and through your marketing channel. So with that, we come to the end of the demo session. Thank you so much for attending this. For those of you who gave the poll numbers, we will definitely look into it for you to, really book a demo with our expert so that we could understand your challenges a bit more and immediately, have our solution work for your business. Please go to lifesight.io/demo and book calendar with our experts. Since we already have got your details, we'll also be reaching out to you. So feel free to keep your inbox, on and look out for our experts reach out, and we'll be happy to work with you for your measurement issues and challenges. So thank you so much for joining in. Thanks, Shubham. Thanks, Rajiv, for this wonderful demo session. Feel free to tune in to our LinkedIn, live site. Check out our website. Feel free to do your research, and we're here to help you nail your marketing measurements. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in. Have a great night. Have a great morning wherever you are. Yeah.
Thanks everyone. Thanks Ashish. Bye.